Welcome back to the True Transformation Podcast. Today, I have my great friend, Marc Lobliner, repeat guest on the show. He's been on the show before, but I had to get him back on because the first time around, it was just incredible and epic. And Marc just always knows how to deliver entertainment and value at the same time, which is not easy to pull off. So in case you don't know who Marc Lobliner is, well, first of all, go follow him on Instagram at Marc Lobliner. And you'll quickly realize this guy's a full-blown savage. Of course, he's a father and husband first and foremost. And I say that because this guy gets stuff done on every single level at an elite level. You will see his physique and you'll know what I mean. This guy's been in the game for a minute. He's also an incredibly successful entrepreneur. He is the CEO of MTS Nutrition. He is the CMO of TigerFitness.com. He's also a partner in Ambrosia, and he is the creator of, in my opinion, the best tasting protein bar on the planet, the Outright Bar. And if you don't know who Marc is, I highly suggest you link up with him. Now, I'm going to tell you this up front because Marc's a good friend. Marc and I share a lot of similar views on the world. We tend to be the guys who are able to see different perspectives and give you clarity and, for lack of a better term, common sense. We just care about people. We don't care about politics. We care about people. Care about treating people the right way. And Marc talks a lot about that today in today's episode with how he runs his company. And also, we care about health. We care about ensuring you live a long and high quality life. So we get into the weeds a bit with heart health. And this is really an important topic, especially in today's world where people are just a little more conscious of the fact that, hey, there could be underlying health issues that you're not aware of. A big one being heart health. And so we talk about some preventative measures that Marc and I both practice to ensure that we're taking care of the internal health just as much as the external. Marc is someone worth following. I will tell you that. And we are partnering with Marc on his Outright Bars to start, and they will be sponsoring our upcoming TT Live event in March. If you're listening to this and it's already past March, oh well, but in March, in Northern Virginia, March 18th and 19th, Outright Bars are one of our official partnerships and sponsors of the event. So we're excited to partner with Marc on that venture and ongoing ventures moving forward. Make sure you connect with Marc at TigerFitness.com. Check out the Outright Bars and check out Marc Lobliner on Instagram. Without further ado, let's jump into my interview with Mr. Marc Lobliner. I will get us canceled. Don't worry. We will both be canceled before the end of this show.
You know what? I've already been canceled and it didn't work. I've tried my best to. I'm like, I had that one guy, dude. His name was Steve Cox.
Yes.
COX. And it was a year and a half ago, like during, I think it was before, I think it was during the great 2020. I'm not going to say the word because I don't know if YouTube lets you yet. And I forgot what we got in a fight over, but like, I'm like, dude, I disagree with you. And I put Steve Cox, but with COCKS. And we just went back and forth. And he finally he tweeted for all his, I think I had like 20,000 followers. That's how I was probably like at 18. And so he got all his followers to fucking call Tiger Fitness's customer service.
Oh man.
So like, and it was hilarious because like you got to fire Marc Lobliner. And then they're like, he's our boss. He owns the company. And so I'm like, I finally tweeted out. I'm like, I understand like you're mad at me for whatever reason. I love your conviction, but like all you're doing now is just making Trey and Lacey's day really fucking weird because they're like, what do you want us to do? Like, and you know, like, I don't even call my employees. I call them my colleagues. Cause I don't like that elitist shit.
Yeah.
And I don't like the word employee. I just don't. I find it, and I might be weird for this. I find it to be almost degrading. I never liked being called an employee when I was an employee. I always felt like it made me feel lesser. And I even will correct him if we're in a meeting. Well, as employees, you know, I'm like, no, wait, hold on. Like at the end of the day, we both get up for the same goal, and that's to fucking crush it. Like we're colleagues. I don't care. And that's why I hate titles, but I have to have one because other people like it. You know who has the best titles? Build-A-Bear. Have you ever heard of Build-A-Bear?
Of course.
In the mall?
Yeah.
So they have like chief bear officer, head bear accountant. Like, so everything is like a bear. I'm like, I need to go with that. Like, maybe we could play off the tiger, be like chief cub, you know, or like whatever. I mean, I just hate titles, and I don't even know what half my people are. Like Tyler, that dude does everything from procurement to forecasting to proofreading labels to taste testing MRPs. And I'm like, oh, I was interested. We're in a conference call yesterday. I'm like, hey, here's Tyler. He's the guy.
100%.
And then he's like, stop misgendering me. And I'm like, oh, no.
We're entering a new era, I think, with business, because, bro, like, I'm the same way. I have a guy named Ryan who does so much, right? He's sales.
Better not be dead naming him.
He's literally a guy who crushes it on so many different fronts. So if I just called him our sales guy, right? That's like, I feel like I'm selling him way short on what he does.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, I actually call him like the guy, like he's my guy, like, cause he's literally everything. Right. But yeah, titles, man. We got to get creative. We got to lead the charge with better titles, man. Watch, everybody will copy you too. You'll nobody
really cares. Like, we just work. Like, that's the thing about like the environment. So everybody at Tiger Fitness, everybody except for our CTO, because obviously, like, you can't like learn to code no matter what the liberals say. Like, so like he didn't, like, everybody in our company except for our CTO and our COO. And everybody started in shipping or customer service. For example, Matt Tucker is the greatest internal sales guy in the world. I mean, he's amazing. He started in shipping. You know, Tyler started in shipping. Lacey, who's our chief customer service and social media, she started in shipping. So everybody in our company, for example, we had a huge sale for Super Bowl Sunday. We didn't expect it to go well. Super Bowl's not really a sale day, but it exploded. Like, dude, we had record days. And so our office was empty because everybody was in the back wearing sneakers and a Tiger Fitness t-shirt, shipping orders. Dang. And every Black Friday, we're all hands on deck. I haven't gone for the last 2 years, but we used to all bring our families and we'd ship. So everybody from our CEO to our CTO knows how to do it because we made him learn, and everybody knows how to ship. Everybody knows how to answer phones. Everybody knows how to do everything. The only specialties that you can't really do is like Andy is really proficient at coding and stuff like that. And our CTO, he's super nerd. So you can't, like, that's something you need to really go to school for. Other than that, man, all I care about is culture. Culture is everything, whether you're a football team or whether you're a company. You know, the teams that end up winning, you ever wonder about those teams in Ohio, those football teams who've won state like every year are gone? Yep. It's not because they're getting the best talent. It's because they're playing for something much bigger than them. They're playing for a legacy. They're playing for culture. And if you can build that culture within your team, within your organization, that's 99% of the battle.
How do you do that? Like, where do you start with that?
Well, you have to have a mission first, right? You have to have a noble mission. You can't just be like, hey, it works. I mean, there's a lot of companies that started simply to make money and sell. A lot of companies, hey, our goal is to build this and sell it within 3 years. My brother was with a company like that before, you know, and it's like, hey, in 3 years, here's our exit plan, 3 years. Now, there's ways to do that. And that's not the kind of companies I build. But you need to have a mission. Like, it needs to be beyond just like, hey, we want to sell a ton of shit. You need to be doing something noble. For us, it is noble. We are trying to better people's lives through fitness and through supplementation and nutrition. That's why we always had, like, while other companies were saying like, hey, 1 million orders shipped, bodybuilder.com, that's where we got your more than just a number here as our tagline for Tiger Fitness. Bodybuilding.com was kicking our ass. They were number one, and they were amazing. They were a $500 million company. And so when Chad and I partnered up with Tiger Fitness in 2011, I always said, we're never going to be number one, but we'll be a damn good number two. And when they did that, Chad called me and said, this is bullshit. Can you believe that they're just looking at people like as numbers? He was really legit mad. He's like, fuck that. You're more than just a number here. And we're like, oh, hold on. That's a good slogan. So that's, we got, you're more than just a number here. So for us, you know, it's about more than just making gains. It's about optimizing the human condition. It's about helping people. And that's why you'll never go online, even if people hate us, like, man, you know, I don't like Mark because he voted for Trump or whatever. But man, their customer service is amazing. Because we foster that mentality that the customer is first, the customer is number one. And that's what it's all about. So our customer service, our whole brand takes on the expectation of putting the customer and their health and their wellness first. And sales are a byproduct of us simply giving a fuck. If you care about people, EAS, I don't know, I'm rambling today, but EAS was run by Bill Phillips. And they used to have and I saw this, I was their ad rep at Weeder Publications back in 2002. 2001 is when this happened. And they had a call center. I'm talking like 50 phones. It's back when people used phones. Remember those days? Are you too young for that?
No,
and dude, and they had a rule. Bill Phillips had a rule. If you're caught selling, you're fired on the spot. And the old adage by Bill Phillips, by a guy named Vince Andrich, was information sells products. And that's when you saw Muscle Media 2000. You saw all these different things where those guys who were pioneers in the adage that if you help people, they'll help you. So it was kind of one of those things. For me, you know, as someone who comes from a family whose dad died from type 2 diabetes, whose mom had addiction issues, for me, it was always about how can I help people not die? And then I got really good at formulating and flavoring, and I'm naturally a good salesperson. So it's amazing. If you told me to sell something that sucks, I could probably sell it. But if you tell me to sell something I truly believe in, like, okay, sell Ambrosia Vita, which is a viral defense product, man, I will sell the shit out of that thing because I truly believe in it. So if you believe in what you're doing, so the key is, you know, run a company with ethics, with morals, and with a mission. And from that, you build your culture. And also, don't hire above people. How would you feel if you're busting your ass at a company for 3 years and you're making, let's throw out a number, you're making 40 grand a year, okay? And then a job, and then a job opens up, and instead of giving you an opportunity to get that, I bring in someone off the street and pay him 10,000 more than you. How would you feel about the company you work for?
Yeah, you definitely lose the loyalty, man.
So the thing about being a CEO is empathy. And that's why I like the fact that I started on the bottom rung, you know, and I still do bottom rung shit. I'm the guy cleaning out the blender at the end of a trade show in a bathroom that smells like piss and fucking fake tan. You know, you need to humble, and you need to do road shows. Like I visit, I'm going to try mid-year. We have a lot of big things coming to Vitamin Shop and GNC. I'm going to try and visit over 500 stores. And nothing humbles you more than sitting in a car by yourself all day away from your family and hustling and going out there and promoting your brand. So I want my company, my colleagues, to see that I'm not just sitting behind an oak desk and calling the shots. They're gonna be like, who the fuck's that guy? He doesn't even work. Because I've had bosses like that. And I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I was going to say you more than anybody. I mean, this is a perfect segue to what I want to talk to you about today, but I feel like you more than anybody, it's like you have this this work ethic that it's almost like a humble work ethic, but it's almost like unstoppable. Like I followed you for so many years now. Like I feel like a lot of guys gain a lot of notoriety and then they kind of change, right? And all of a sudden they're on that throne and they're untouchable and like they have all these minions working for them. Like if I just look at you and say, all right, I want to model myself after Mark, the first place I would start is like, this guy gets his hands dirty.
Got to get dirty.
Yeah. Like nonstop. Yeah. It doesn't end.
Well, I mean, Hewlett Packard's a great company to look at. So Hewlett of the Packard relationship, he actually was known, like he was all about family. So number one is he wanted to hire people. He encouraged inter-office dating, because he always thought that a person with a family will work harder to support themselves because they have more to lose. So whether that's good or bad, you could draw from that. So one is he had conservative values. And number two is that you could find him on any random like Saturday at Home Depot. So he could fix up things in house, lived in the same house after making millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars that he did when he started the company. So there's something to be said about simplicity. You know, there's something to be said, and I live in a nice house, but I'm not knocking people who have nice cars. All my business partners have gorgeous cars and I love driving in them. But at the end of the day, it's just, for me, I have a good SUV. I have a Yukon. I love it. I'm going to drive it till the wheels fall off. But if I do pull up in a Lambo one day, don't judge me. Cause I'm still a man and I still make mistakes or make decisions based on, you know, my penis would buy that car, not me. But I think looking at things as I look at them, the more I tend, and I don't want to say the word accomplish because I'm not nearly where a lot of people are, but the more I tend to grow, the more I realize it's the simple things that excite me. Like, you know, I'm still at the gym every night coaching kids at Legacy at Carbon. You know, like last night I was so excited because we put a girl on squats for the first time and we had her on a box squat because it's safe. I'm not going to explain it to you, but to your listeners, sure, when you're teaching someone how to squat, even when you're not, a box squat is a very, very effective and way safer option, because if you fall, you just hit your ass and it tells you where to stop. Right. Yeah. So, and I mean, that was, for me, that got me excited. You know, that was like, this is amazing. Like, this is life. So I don't get kicks out of material things, and I love working. Like, I feel like my life is a waste if I'm just out there directing traffic. I want to get in the middle of things and I want to be in traffic. I want to be a part of the flow. And also, once you lose focus of being in the trenches, you forget how to fight.
I love that. Yeah, bro. I mean, the most admirable thing, and I know a lot of our listeners are business owners too, like us. The most admirable thing that I would say, besides obviously your unstoppable work ethic, that's just, it never ends and you're always in the trenches, but you are able to stay elite on a couple different levels. Number one is your fitness, right? So for those who don't know you or haven't seen your pictures, just go to your Instagram. You'll see a few, but staying in elite shape, especially when you're doing things like road shows, you're visiting GNCs, vitamin shops, you're just nonstop. And on top of that, you have children who you travel for with. Yep. You have a daughter who's in soccer and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. How do you stay elite, man? I mean, and you're not shy, by the way, you can say whatever you want on this show. I know you're not shy about your supplementation usage and stuff like that, but I think a lot of people have a really like misunderstanding around that stuff. But how do you stay on top of the fitness side of things when you just have so much going on?
You just do it. Like, so I have a Planet Fit. I have a Planet Fitness membership, and their hours are amazing. So if I'm ever on the road, and let's say I'm with my 10-year-old or my 15-year-old turning 15 next month, you know, I can go before the day starts and get a workout in. You know, with my daughter, when she has soccer games, she trains before games. So we'll go to the gym, you know, before a soccer game. It's just a part of life. Like when I'm on the road, first thing I do is when I get to the hotel is I go on Google Maps and I type in gyms. And it shows you like there's tons of gyms. And then you look at the hours and you make sure they're staffed, and you just go and you buy a day pass and you're good. Like, and I'm not one of those, you get it done in the hotel gym. No, you fucking can't. Most hotel gyms are just a treadmill and an elliptical. They've gone downhill since, like, they've actually regressed. Yes. Hotel gyms are worse than ever. And I look, for me, I need iron. Like I'm addicted to iron. I need iron. I have an iron deficiency. I need to feed it every day. You get by with a resistance bands. Honestly, like for the average person, you get a resistance band, and we have actually workout articles on tigerfitness.com. I did like 60 days straight of band training, which sucked because I don't really like training bands. Crap. Well, during the lockdown. So I was like, I got to admit, I did lie a little bit, and I wanted this first time I'm coming clean. I was like, yeah, this is all I'm doing. No, I was doing that. And I kind of had a buddy who owned a gym, and Tennessee didn't really close down. I did all the workouts. I never really said this is all I'm doing, but I think people assumed it. But like, dude, if I did bands for 2 months straight, it's not that I think I'd lose gains. It's that I'd probably lose my mind. I need to feel iron. You know what I mean? I need iron in my hand. I don't know if I could do without it. But yeah, my wife and I would go down we lived in an apartment because our house is being built. And we'd walk down this beautiful lake area by Nissan headquarters in Cool Springs in Franklin, Tennessee. And we do this little bullshit band workout, and you can get great results of bands. Like, I don't know if you know who James Grage is,
Yeah.
But James, he owns a brand Under the Sun. I think it's called Under Sun. And we actually just spoke the other day, and we did a ton of podcasts together during the lockdowns, because James actually does use only bands. And that dude looks amazing. He looks way better than me. So, I mean, yeah, there's definitely a way you can get by. So bands you can fit in your carry-on with your clothes and everything. And you only need like 3 of them. They usually sell it in packs of 5, but the one thin one, what are you going to do with that? Is that like a dental dam or something? And then you got like that's the small. So you have the medium, large. You don't need the extra large. No one's using that shit. 2 bands takes up like this much space in your carry-on.
Right.
No reason not to work out. Like, get moving every day, do something, walk. And for me, my workouts take about 45 to 60 minutes. It doesn't take that long.
Yeah. The workouts, I love the gym, or like, the maps. Cause I mean, with technology, man, like I even have a client who, funny enough, he's releasing, it's a pretty big app, but it's an app for travelers to find a gym, find a trainer if they need a trainer, and get a day pass, like all on the app, right? So they literally, it's like
that
1,
is
2,
sick.
3. Yeah, they can I believe connect to an Uber through the app, so they can just schedule everything in advance. Yeah, it's filthy, dude. I'll have to send you the info on that, because
I also go to a lot of, like, I know in when I go to visit GNC in Pittsburgh, I know that there's the LA Fitness right down there. It's about 15 minutes from where I stay, and then I get that done. So I mean, it's just it becomes who you are and what you do. Like, you need to do something to get moving in the morning. And if you're not that guy, like, Alex Feinberg is a guy who, and also, what's his name? Kino Body, Greg, good friend of mine. Like, Greg trains, he really does. He trains twice a week. Did you see that big thread on him being on steroids that even Elon replied to?
I saw, yeah, Greg's a buddy too. And I was like, that's epic. I think it was like his 3rd day on Twitter.
So good for him. He got a following now.
Yeah.
But I was going to do a video on it, because pictures, I'm not saying he photoshops, he doesn't, but like, we did a Fresh and Fit podcast together, and there's a clear discrepancy in our size. Like, he's a big guy, but not one part of me would look at him in a shirt and say steroids.
Nope.
Right.
Never.
Like, he is not a steroid guy. He just, when he takes his shirt off, he has abs and a chest. He's in shape. His legs are not steroid legs. He's just a really in shape guy. But unfortunately, mediocre people run the world. And like, people think I'm on like fucking big Rami cycles. I'm literally on 150 milligrams. I'm not going to say, I have a family member who's morbidly obese, who's on 50% more testosterone than me, just because his levels are low. I'm on like the lowest of low TRT dose, but I train my balls off, and I've been doing this for years. But people think if someone's simply not, like Elijah Schaefer, I'm training him, like, he's made a great transformation, but he's been following the program. He's getting steroid accusations, and trust me, the guy's he doesn't even know what a fucking steroid does. But the fact that he's doing something good, people cannot fathom somebody doing something that they can't do just out of having sheer will and being able to stick to a program.
Yeah, it's always the go-to. It is frustrating. I mean, and it doesn't help, like, I don't know. The whole Liver King thing that came out,
fuck
right?
That guy. Yeah.
It just annoyed the hell out of me. Not because like I was surprised. I mean, no one who's in the industry was surprised. Like, we were just like, obviously, right?
I actually kind of was, bro.
You were surprised?
Man, when someone,
you just thought maybe he wasn't going to risk all of that by lying. Like, he wasn't that stupid.
Have you ever seen LeBron James play basketball?
Yeah.
There are freaks out there. There just are. And I know he's 45, but Mike O'Hearn's like 122 years old. And I still honestly, and I've given this, I just talked to Mark Bell about this on his podcast. Like, I'm like innocent till proven guilty. So like, the Liver King was so adamant that he was natural. Remember when he did that thing, like with the fucking syringes in the turkey or whatever, in the fucking bone marrow or whatever? When someone is that, like, I always said, if you commit a murder, you should be, I didn't do it. And that's why, like, when people are like stoic, like like, I don't know, man. Cause if I was accused of murder, I'd be like, that shit wasn't me. So Liver King, and he's so crazy and he's so like of that lifestyle. And like, I think he's a douchebag, and people like, why would you hate? Yeah, hate's a strong word. I hate when people mislead people and lie. And yes, I hate his guts. I hate him. And I don't care if that gets me flagged. Oh, hatred. That's a sign of Satan. Jews don't believe in hell. Leave me alone. So like, but let's think about what the Liver King does. He works out hard. He does cardio, and he eats a meat-based diet, even though it's fucking disgusting and he's eating fucking balls. I mean, he suns his balls, which is weird. But I mean, I don't think he does any of that shit, to be honest. But I'm one of those, like, it's not bothering me. He's not taking money out of my pocket. Whatever. He's fooling a bunch of kids, and he went viral. And I'm like, this dude might be for real, because, but then I didn't see the original videos where he was like, before he became Liver King. He's actually a really good, really in shape guy. Like, he's jacked.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he's squatting like 500 pounds in his basement, but he didn't have that over the top persona. His beard, he actually showered back then, I think. Yep. And after I saw that, I'm like, yeah, nobody in their 40s is going to, like, look, man, what you see right now is this is my peak. Like, I'm 42. You're not going to make any like teenage, like, transformations. Right.
Yeah.
Like, this guy went from being, and he wasn't like inactive. Like, for example, Elijah Schaefer, he was just drinking alcohol and not training. So his transformation is absurd. But if you take Elijah now, and then 6 months from now, being that now he's been training for a few months, it's not going to be that impressive because he's already at a level of training. So you got the Liver King, a guy who's been training for God knows how long, his whole life. And in 1 year, in his 40s, he suddenly becomes jacked. If I would have seen that picture, and that's why I think Mike O'Hearn's natural. I've told this story so many times, man. It's like I was at Gold's. It was like my second time, and I used to live right by Gold's Venice. I grew up in Culver City.
Nice.
And I'm there, and it was when he was married to Mindy, and it's back in the day. Like, probably y'all didn't know there was a Mindy O'Hearn, right? Like, and I saw this fucking beautiful species, reverse hyper, you know, where you lift your legs.
Yep.
Bro, there was fucking 6 plates on each side. My fucking body would snap in half. And he's repping this shit. And there's Mindy and like 2 other dudes. That was before I knew what a Mike O'Hearn was. And then like the next month I'm watching TV, and that motherfucker's on American Gladiators. And I'm like, so Mike O'Hearn but he was the same then as he is now. Like, Mike O'Hearn hasn't changed. Like, people don't understand. Like, Mike O'Hearn's looked the exact fucking same for the last 40 years.
Totally.
This is fucking, dude, this is 2000. This is 1996, bro. I was 16 years old, 15, because I turned 16 in 96. I was 15, and Mike O'Hearn was still looking better than me.
There's freaks of freaks. Like, I agree. I played sports against guys who had physiques that would destroy a lot of fitness models. They didn't even know how to train. They were just playing sports. Like, they would do like leg press, push-ups, and then go run. And then they'd walk around with 8-packs with chests and arms and shoulders. And it's just because that's the genetics they were blessed with. And then they got into sports and their bodies developed. But the guys like O'Hearn, who you said like never change, I agree.
He's lived the perfect life. He's lived the perfect life. He was at the gym. I remember I'm like training. I didn't know he was there. It was like 4:00. I had to get there early. It was like 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. And there's a balcony overlook, and they used to have stationary bikes there in Gold's Venice, overlooking the leg press and the main area, and by the front door. And I looked up, and there's Mike O'Hearn. He's ready post-workout doing fucking exercise bike. Yeah. Like, it is fucking like 5 a.m. I'm like, who is this fucking guy? Like, and it's funny because we're friends now. And I was like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I kind of have a man crush. Like, if I was ever to go gay, like, I'd totally have sex with Mike O'Hearn.
He has been the most disciplined, consistent guy on the fitness front forever. He
has a meal named after him at the firehouse.
I was just there, bro. I was just there a couple days ago.
Did you eat O'Hearn?
Yeah, I did. I actually, no, I didn't eat O'Hearn. I had the Bob Bowl. The Bob Bowl.
Oh yeah, the Bob Bowl. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still not at that level where I get a bowl, but I don't live there anymore.
That was my first time. I'd never been there before.
Man, I'm over it. Like, I don't even go to Gold's Venice when I'm there. I'll go to so I used to train it's now an LA Fitness. It's a Bally Total Fitness in Culver Center in Culver City. And that was, so I trained at Gold's and that Bally, at the time, cause it's kind of underground. It was at the time, it was like an all black gym when I trained there. So it was the hardcore, like dudes drive in from Inglewood. So when you go there to train, like I was always like the only white guy there. And it was amazing because I'm not, again, this isn't racist. Black people just train harder. They just fucking do. If you go, and this is a compliment. So anybody who says weight training is racist, it's racist against white people because white people train like pussies. I grew up training around brothers, man, and brothers can train. Like, dude, if you go to a black gym or a gym that's predominantly not white, it's a next level. Like, and everybody helps everybody. Like, dude, if you're about to bench, yo, bro, you need a spot. You go to a white gym, like, I'm not gonna spot him. I'm like, huh?
You're spot on, dude.
Bro, you go to
my best training partner was black, bro. My best friend, Carlton. I'll give him a shout out.
Okay,
hardest guy I've ever trained with.
You had a black best friend named Carlton. Are you not seeing the humor in that?
I know, bro. And if you saw this guy, he's I'm gonna screw this up. I think he's about to be a black belt in jiu-jitsu too, but he's like 240 shredded, 100% natural.
Yeah.
Freak of freaks.
Yeah.
But dude, the training sessions we used to have, that's what I credit my muscle to, because there's no way I'm training. I thought I trained hard when I met Carlton. I was like, oh yeah, I'm a big dog. I got this, right? No, sir. No, not at all.
Bro,
I would limp out of that gym. Luckily, every single time.
Can I get us canceled real quick? I used to think black people had elite genetics. And I still think there's some component, like Jose Antonio wrote a great book in the 90s about Eastern Europeans and West Africans and their genetic advantages. He was called a racist, and his name's Jose Antonio. He was a racist before it was cool. And so after training so I've coached thousands of people. You're probably a little less because you're younger. But most, if you count the online people and the people that have coached under people who I've worked with, like at Team Salvation. I don't know if you remember that. That was the largest online personal training. So like it was free. So obviously I could claim a lot of numbers, but I didn't personally train these people, but I saw their progress because we had an internal database that Derek Charleboy, who you probably know, ran. Yep. And so I've trained hundreds of black people, hundreds of white people, hundreds of Latinos, hundreds of Asians. There's no fucking difference. There's black people with great genetics and there's black people with horrible genetics. There's white people with great genetics. There's white people with horrible genetics. But the one thing that I've noticed, if you look at like the great looking people, they usually just fucking train harder. Like if you look at Elijah, he's just a tall white guy. And now he's like, it looks like he's gone through some crazy transformation. He hasn't done anything special. And in fact, I'd say his adherence to the program, being in another country and just whatever, is probably 60%. But think about it, 60% is better than the 0% he had before. And he's weight training, 6 days a week. So he's getting some crazy, getting canceled, some BBC gains. Remember the BBC genetics thing? That was a message board thing. Yeah. Oh, he's got them BBC genetics. And there are some freaks, right? Like, okay. So Phil Heath, I remember we trained together before the Olympia in 2015. So we spent a week training together, 3 weeks out. And then we saw each other, like we started training together 3 months later, and his forearms were literally this much bigger. And I'm like, Phil, what the fuck did you do to your forearms? He's like, oh, there was this machine at this gym I went to and I did it for a few days and I gained a half inch on my forearms. And he wasn't lying. And then, but here's the advert. Here's the converse, right? Jay Cutler. So it was after he retired. And so he's trained for like 20 minutes, like 4 days a week. He's doing like eating like 6 ounces of meat a meal. Like he was eating like a girl and doing stationary bike for like 2 hours a day, trying to downsize. And like, I saw him 2 months later and he was like big. I'm like, Jay, like, are you back? What's going on? He's like, I just decided to train 5 days a week and I cut back on cardio. The guy gained like 20 pounds of lean mass. So like, wow. What I'm saying is there are genetic components and those two are freaks. But none of us are Jay Cutler and none of us are Phil Heath. At the end of the day, whether you're black, whether you're white, it comes down to how much you adhere to your program, and it comes down to how hard you train. And that's why people go to the gym. Like there's this guy at the gym this morning, and I'm pounding chest, and between sets, he did more texting than he did training. So you have an hour in the gym. How are you going to spend that hour? I get done in about 45 minutes, and I could probably get done in 30. You know, it's just a matter of how hard you train and whether you have a game plan, and then it's about how you eat.
Totally. Yeah. You'd mentioned Kino Body. It's just a lot of people are like, oh, the 2 workouts a week is nonsense. Well, going back to what you said though, just now, where it's the intensity, right? Those 2 training sessions are hardcore, right? Like focus, getting stronger, progressive, you know, no slacking, literally just dialed in. And most people will be shocked if they put that much focus and effort into those, you know, 2 workouts a week, how much progress and gains they could actually make. It's just they're screwing around and they're 3 or 4 workouts a week doing what really would ultimately be only 2 workouts worth of intensity at the most.
Well, you look at Greg too, like he trains 2 days a week now. And I think the data shows like 20 total sets to maintain. Efforting had a great article on that. And, so, I mean, here's the deal, like to maintain Mike O'Hearn level of lean mass, you need to train 5 to 7 days a week, right? Yeah. But to maintain Greg lean mass, which he probably built that lean mass training 3 to 6 days a week.
Yep.
I can probably stay the size I'm at, maybe minus 5 pounds of lean mass, easily 2 days a week, easily. 2 full body or an upper lower, and you're good. If I train just Monday and Thursday, I'd be able to maintain. But for me, you know, training isn't about maintaining. I still think I have a little more in the tank. And also I really enjoy, I need the gym for my mental more than physical. So I think that's what you look at. But Greg is, I wouldn't even say he has great genetics, but not elite genetics.
Yeah.
And he's simply the epitome of a great maintenance program. And again, like if we found out he's on steroids, I'd be surprised.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be
mad. He's not on anything.
But are you not seeing that this is just a reflection of what's wrong with society?
Totally.
That if someone does something good, we automatically shit on them with something negative instead of being like, oh, good for him. It's like, oh, fucking steroids. It's like the steroid thing in the fitness world is frustrating to me because I'm literally on prescribed replacement dose. And I've even, like Greg, I've posted my blood work multiple times, and there's nothing you can do. And it just gets annoying because you're doing everything right. You're telling the truth. You're training hard. And then you have some fucking, whether it's the right or the left, it's not a political thing. Both sides do it. If they don't like, I literally said something like really positive. It was about, and it was like, and then all of a sudden it went to that, like that insult. And I wonder why nobody does that about alcohol. And alcohol kills way more people than basically anything. Yet, and no one really does that to fat people. Yet if someone's in shape, even if they're not on steroids, like a Greg, or I could even say myself, who's not on illegal steroids, why is that such an insult versus, hey, you're a fucking drunk? I don't know. You tell me.
Yeah, I think it's weird because it wasn't always this way. No. You know what I mean? It wasn't even that long ago where like an Arnold, and Arnold's just top of mind because I was just out there. You know, Arnold was like everyone's guy, right?
Yeah,
like,
everybody wanted to look like him.
Yeah, and action heroes in general, like Sylvester Stallone and like the Rambo physique and all this stuff. Like people idolize that stuff. Now, I don't know if it's because we've gotten to a point now where just in general, Western society is weak. I wouldn't even say like, what's funny about the steroid accusations is I do think it's a Western society issue.
Yes.
Because overseas, bro, like in the Middle East and stuff, dude, they idolize fitness. Like
oh, dude. Yeah.
You're like look a celebrity,
Rami,
bro.
Look at Hottie. Like they're literally the biggest thing. But I think it all started going downhill after Mark McGuire, Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, and the media just attacked steroids. And so that generation, you know, went to their kids. And so basically, if anybody does something elite, it immediately becomes about steroids instead of just somebody doing something elite. But it's weird because you got someone like a LeBron James, who obviously is supernatural.
Totally.
Naturally supernatural. And then, but what's weird is that the NFL, which drug use is probably 100%.
Yeah.
And they don't have the same issues as you, who's simply a trainer online. You know, it's like, what? Like,
well, we saw that in the Super Bowl. I mean, we had the
ankle
quarterback. Yeah. You think he just went in the locker room and iced his ankle? Get out of here, dude.
No, they got that guy on fucking elephant tranquilizer, man.
He was like, pumped full of more drugs than horses in the Derby, bro. Like
they've always done that. I mean, I remember the Colts were playing the Super Bowl. I forgot who the defensive lineman was, but his ankle was broken, and he played the rest of the game with a fucking broken ankle. Look at RG3. He played with a torn ACL, ruined his career because he couldn't feel the pain. Like at the end of the day, man. Like you do you, and I'm not the one who's going to take up for people lying. But there are reasons people lie about, like, if you're like, remember, steroids are illegal. So if you're to go and say, I'm on steroids, the DEA has the internet. So like, if you're out there, I'm surprised Rich Piano was able to do it as long as he did, right? Like at the end of the day, you're admitting to having illegal contraband on you. And that was my argument. Like, people used to get mad about fake natties. And I'm like, well, let's say you're Callie Muscle or Dana Lynn Bailey. I'm not saying, well, Callie is obviously admitted it, but like Dana, I firmly believe she's natural because she's not that big and she trains her ass. I've trained with her. She buried me. Hardest training session I ever had. Twice. I almost died, you know? But you know, you look at them and it's like, you're basically telling the government that you have shit on you, and the intent to distribute the dose is not that much higher than what someone would keep for their cycle. So you're literally saying, hey, search me, and giving them probable cause because you're literally out there saying you have this shit. So I mean, let's be realistic here. It's not good to admit you're on illegal drugs unless you're Hunter Biden.
100%. Yeah, you get a pass.
Your dad's the president. You can do what you want.
You can do as many steroids and cocaine and hookers as you want. You're totally good.
That's a great stack.
So I don't want to switch gears too much, but this kind of falls in line with the steroid talk. So there's a lot of, I guess, underlying worry these days about heart health. And I see these two topics get brought up together, especially with athletes. And we don't even need to say the V word that's causing people to drop dead out of nowhere. Potentially, right? But I saw a series you did, and I just kind of wanted to give an overview for our audience because I think it was probably one of the most valuable things I've seen on the internet, and people just don't even know about it. I don't feel like, or at least only your audience knows about it. But the heart health series you did impacted my life tremendously because I come from a family with a long history of heart issues.
Yes.
And I'm in shape, but I'm a bigger guy. Like I'm 220, ripped, but that's a bigger person who carries a lot of size and has stress on the heart. I want to go through your protocol for elite level heart, right? Because I feel like you have such a strong grasp of this topic. Let's talk about that because you're a guy who, you even said it, man. You come from a history of health issues in your family.
Yep.
You're on TRT.
I've taken steroids in the past, and I don't know what damage I've done. And the good news is I haven't drank alcohol. And I've never been, and other than when I was a child, which I was a active obese guy, I was a defensive lineman. Like I was 290 pounds, but I was in shape. Like I was I could run further then than I can now. Like I was an athletic fat fuck, I think is the word I'm looking for, but I did it for a reason. And, it was to get into college, and I don't regret that. What I do regret is the steroid cycles. I do. 2013 was the year I went a little too hard because I kind of lost focus of, and that's why I tell them, they're like, well, you're a hypocrite. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just telling you not to make them, because I don't know. Like, that's the thing, is that I don't know if I like right now, everything's perfect, but I don't know if there's like a mileage thing. Like, did I damage something that's not seen? I've done all the calcium tests. I'm doing everything right. I don't know. And like the thing about your life is you don't want to, like every time you drink alcohol, you're fucking taking something, whether it's from your brain or from your kidney or from your liver, even that nightly drink or that weekly drink. Look, man, every time you do something unhealthy or anything at all, it impacts your longevity. So I'm not saying that you take 10 years off your life because you drank 10 drinks. I'm just saying that you're making it more likely for your body to have issues later. Okay. So I'm not saying I can't give you a direct number. So I don't know. So bottom line is I think I could have done just fine without it. Why do something you don't need to do? Like these bros who want to do a big steroid cycle to go to the fucking beach. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, really?
Not
like,
worth it.
No. So we're learning a lot about heart health. And we're learning a lot about how to mitigate heart issues. And one thing we need to look at, whether it's caused by the virus itself or by treatments for the virus, something is causing an uptick in mortality. And a lot of that mortality is coming from heart issues. So when I look at the heart issues and what we need to do, number one is we need to make sure that we exercise our heart. We need to make sure that we do what we can to prevent blood clots, and we do what we can to stay cardiovascularly healthy, where our heart rate variability, where everything's in order. And so number one, I think the AHA finally put it on their list is sleep. You need to get good sleep. I just did a video on this, and there's a lot of things that can affect your sleep, better or worse. Getting to bed at a good time, making sure that you get at least 6 hours. 6 hours, like the bare minimum, right? Yeah. If you get 9 hours, even better. 7 to 8, fine. Just make sure you're getting enough. It varies on the individual and how deep you sleep. How do you increase your restful sleep? Well, a lot of things that'll also help your heart. You increase your restful sleep by not looking at blue light for about 30 to 60 minutes before bed. That means put your phone down, don't watch TV, read a book, talk to your wife, wind down. Don't get that blue light in your system. Try to make it as dark as possible in your house. That's one way. Another way is having a routine. Your body likes routine. Going to bed around the same time every night. That's another one. Another one that I just actually did a video on for my channel is sauna. I've actually been measuring my deep sleep with my Whoop strap. And now last night I got only 5.5 hours of sleep because I had an early morning, but my recovery was at 90%. So I found that sauna before bed, meaning about within the 3 to 4 hour window before bed, will increase. And there's some data on it. It's very scarce. The last data I saw was on 5 people in 1976. I can send you the study, but it's really whatever. Yeah. At the end of the day, my personal data, and from the data I can, based on also the serotonin release, getting rid of those stress hormones. So it so basically it'll increase your stress while you're in there. That drops. And also the act of heating your body up will make it so your body has to cool down. And it's been found that the cooler temperatures, I think it's a 62 to 64 degrees Fahrenheit in your house. I don't got that kind of money to spend on an electric bill. So go in the sauna. It'll heat you up. So your body's going to be cooling down before bed. Sauna use as well. I mean, the heat shock proteins, the Finnish study done, a huge population study, thousands of people, found a 40% decrease in mortality, in overall mortality. So that means you're all risk. That means any dying from anything goes down by 40%. Of course, non-accidental. It can't prevent you from getting hit by a car, but like sauna is clutch. Cardio. I recommend at least 30 minutes of cardio a day. That doesn't mean treadmill. Go for a walk. If you're at a parking lot, park further away from the door. Unless you're in Atlanta. Last time I did that, I had a smash and grab on my car. If you're just don't go to Atlanta. Okay. Yeah, don't go there. So yeah, do 30 minutes of cardio, because most people like me, I'm at a stand-up desk. I move around, I coach. For me, it's not a problem. For most people sitting at a cubicle in an office, you're not getting 30 minutes. Get up and walk. Go walk to lunch, walk around the cubicle. I don't care. Just get out, get walking. Yep. Go outside. There's a new one for me, earthing. It has been found in some preliminary studies. Again, they're not good studies, that simply walking outside for 10 minutes barefoot on grass will decrease the viscosity of your blood.
Wow.
There you go. Get your blood work done. If you have high cholesterol, if you have high LDL, especially, your doctor might want you to go on a statin. I know a lot of your base is going to hate me saying that because statins aren't that good. They cause muscle soreness. For guys like us, it'll completely, the muscle, it increases muscle damage. But for sedentary people, lowering your cholesterol will decrease your heart rate. Now, will decrease your heart risk. So I know I'm rambling, but the way around statins is the alternative is actually pretty simple. And I'm not saying it's drug-like, but apple cider vinegar, 2 to 4 tablespoons a day, has been shown to help. I'm not saying it's like a drug. I do not want the FDA, I do not want any lawsuits. But if you look up data, put apple cider vinegar and HDL, LDL, and it'll tons of studies on it. So simple thing, and it's dirt cheap. It's like $3 at Target for the off-brand. Make sure it has the mother in there, and you're good to go. That's all I got, 2 to 4 tablespoons. A new supplement I actually found, I'm formulating a heart health supplement. I don't have it yet, so I'm going to give you the ingredient that I really love. There's a couple others in my product. It's called nattokinase. Nattokinase, Nattokinase. It's from a natural food in Japan. And you want to look to take 2,000 to 8,000. Again, the data is not as conclusive as I like. It actually greatly reduces your chances of a blood clot. Greatly. It's called nattokinase. We have the Now Foods brand at Tiger Fitness. There's Earth's Best you get on Amazon. If you want to support me, by all means, buy Now Foods from me. But it's only like $14.99 for like 100. And you only need, again, it's 2,000 FU per cap. So you only need 2 to 4 caps a day. So it's going to last you. That's 14. That's like 30 cents a day, bro.
Yeah.
And it literally will decrease. I'm not going to say eliminate. It decreases your chance of having a blood clotting issue. Huge stuff. Ambrosia nectar. Again, I'm not going to make any claims for that. I take it for overall health. Getting out, being active, and weight training, of course. Weight training is the most healthy thing you could do. They have found decreased mortality rates so basically what they found is that strength is more important than muscle mass and cardio.
Really?
Strength for longevity. Again, I saw this, Stan Efferding talked about this, but I saw the data before he talked about it, but I want to give him credit for being the first one to beat me to a video on it. God bless Stan. He's probably the smartest guy in the business, to be honest with you. But yeah, you look at what simple things. Okay. So there are supplements to help: sunlight, vitamin D, things like that, overall health. Vitamin K has some implications in heart health. But vitamin K you get from your foods, eating whole natural foods, staying away from processed garbage, the same stuff we talk about all day long. And being cardiovascularly fit. Don't be anti-cardio. But if you have to choose between weight training and cardio, do weight training. But again, weight training you could do, like Greg showed us a Kino body. It's like you could weight train 2 days a week, do your zone 2 cardio, sauna. Sauna is extremely good for your health. Yep. But heart health, look, man, like I don't understand. This is why I believe in God. How the fuck does this thing work? Right? Like there's no biological explanation, in my opinion, for how all this goes together. We understand it now, but like who put this together? Like, this is not just like primordial ooze. Like there's so much things. And we're people who literally, I can say this, we make a living on the body, right? Like the body is how we earn our living, but I can't explain this shit. Like we have certain things that help. But this creation, whatever created it, whatever your belief is, dude, look at CT Fletcher. He's got he's got a woman's heart in him right now. And he's still crushing it. Right. So like God gave us this beautiful, just this intricate work of art. And now with science, we're able to optimize it. So now we've literally gone against God's creation. We're doing some weird shit, putting some weird chemicals in our body. but we're able to mitigate some of that through science and learning new things. So you take all these different things and you don't have to do everything. So let's say you don't want to take nattokinase. Cool. Do the sauna. You say you don't want to do the sauna. Cool. Do cardio. Do 30 minutes of cardio a day. Say you don't want to do cardio. Strength train. So you don't have to. I do everything because, again, like it's what I do. You don't have to do everything. Take 1 or 2 or 3 of these things, and you're going to greatly reduce. I'm not saying we're going to cure heart attacks, but we're going to greatly reduce your likelihood of dying from a heart problem. I can't mitigate all risk. What we can do is say that this data is over here, this data is over here. And then you have something like sauna, nattokinase, the data is tremendous. I can send you, I have fucking studies like, cause I'm making a product with it. And I do a white paper for every product I do where FDA loves that shit, you know. Yeah. I love science. I love it. So, I mean, if you look at no morbidity, like if I was to just print out the text between Alan Roberts and I, because I formulated it, he's like, holy shit, this is amazing. But like, I love the science behind these things. So if you look at all these things we have going on, we can greatly mitigate our chances of dying. And you're still going to fucking die. Our goal is to make it where you die later. And while you're on this earth, you're able to crush life. Because what's the point of living till you're 95 if it sucks?
Yeah. What about giving blood? Is that something you recommend?
Most people, yes. So for me, what happens is I donated every 8 weeks for like 10 years. Bro, I got anemic.
Wow.
I was in the gym and I have no cardio. I'm like, it was my annual blood work. I got tested. My doctor's like, everything's perfect. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell's wrong with your iron? I'm like, you're the doctor. You tell me. And I'm like, oh, I know. And I'm like, bro, hold on. I know what it is. I donate blood. He's like, stop donating blood. I'm like, but I thought it helps you. He's like, yeah, it helps because, you know, on TRT but I'm on such a low dose of TRT, it's not causing my ferritin to be increased. So for those of you on steroid cycles, I think that it will definitely be a must. But even then, I recommend you go get your blood work done and check your ferritin. Now, if your shit's high, like I just had a client email me yesterday, and I don't help people with their drug cycles, too much liability, but he's on shit. And he's like, I'm like, yeah, you talk to your doctor, but you probably want to donate some blood, right? Because what that does, it basically will get all that shit out of there. It'll make your blood thinner, right? Like blood gets thick with iron and ferritin. So what it does brings down something called your hematocrit. For me, my hematocrit was normal. So I kept bumping it down every 8 weeks. And it got to the point where I'd be tired like the day. I remember, and I look back. So I donate blood. When I first started donating blood, I was great. Like the day after, I'm like, let's deadlift 700 pounds. And then I'd donate blood and I'd be fucked up for 2 days, then 3 days. Then I'd be messed up for like a month. And this is the first time my blood works. So my doctor said it helps nobody but the person getting the blood. So it's more altruistic, but a lot of people disagree. There's actually a whole movement. I believe Efforting just did a video, and I keep bringing up Stan because he's really good at what he does and he knows the body, and he's not a doctor. He's self-taught. So he's always learning, right? And he's in his 50s. So he has like years and years and years of education and knowledge. And he has a video, and I haven't watched it yet, but it just popped up in my recommended on YouTube on when to donate blood. I don't know if it's new or old, but it just popped up. I think whatever he says is probably the right answer, but basically don't donate blood unless your levels are high. So that's why I highly recommend. It's not expensive. Insurance covers it. If you have even shitty insurance, get your blood panel done and make sure that they include your ferritin and iron levels in that blood work. Make sure you test your testosterone, free testosterone, estrogen or estradiol. Make sure you test all those things, even if it costs extra, because you don't know. Like, so the answer is donate blood if you have to donate, if you should donate blood. But saying everybody, I used to say, and again, hopefully I didn't hurt anybody, but it was what I knew at the time. I used to say everyone should donate blood. Everyone should donate blood. I was wrong. I was 100% wrong. But I will say that donating blood once a year will probably be perfect for everybody. Donating blood once every 8 weeks, like my dumb ass, probably not a good thing. And 8 weeks is crazy because in the UK, it's 16 weeks. So I think America just got it wrong on the time. And I blindly followed the the AHA, which, as we know, with what happened in 2020, we probably should never blindly follow anything the government says.
I was going to say we have a track record. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. I have a unique blood type. I'm O negative. And so
I'm O positive.
Nice.
Yeah. So they call me every week. Like, hey man, you ready to donate? You're universal, motherfucker.
They need us like all the time. I get, I do donate blood usually once or twice a year, but my levels are, you know, perfectly healthy after.
Oh, of course.
I feel actually what's crazy, dude. I had the opposite effect as you. So when I give blood, I actually feel better afterwards. Like I'm like, oh my God, I feel energy.
So when I was on steroids in 2013, I would literally, after giving blood, I'd feel like my heart rate would go to, because my blood pressure, I always stay at like 110/70 or less. And my resting heart rate, I could show you, it's on my phone right now. It's like 45. Like I have a crazy, crazy good cardiovascular system. So, but when I was on steroids, I could tell, and I wasn't getting blood work done like I should have. Again, young and dumb, right? Like I remember giving blood and it was like I got injected with just fucking epinephrine. Like I was like, oh my God, I feel great. My heart's not fucking pounding out of my chest. My skin's less red, you know? And I only did one like crazy 8-week cycle. And when I say crazy, it's not crazy compared to the shit you see online. And that was enough for me to be like, yeah, this shit ain't for me. Like, I'm just going to be a small bodybuilder. But some of these cats, man, I don't even know how they walk around. Like you look at like, and I respect the grind. You look at the size of like a Nick Walk. I'm not saying they're on crazy drugs, but I'm saying like the size, like Nick and Rami and these guys. And then you look at like my friend Brandon Curry, my old business partner, like he walks around all year at 205, 210 pounds. And then he eats more chicken and gets to like, you know, the competing in the 240s. So he does it the old Lavroni way, where if you look at Brandon, you look at his eyes, look at his skin, Brandon just looks like a normal, healthy man. And then at the show, he looks, in my opinion, because I see him every day, slightly less healthy in shape, man, but with enormous arms. His arms are like fucking this, right? Like, but then you look at like, and again, I think Nick's amazing. And I admire anybody who takes their craft to the level that he's taken it, where you're willing to sacrifice. If you know what I mean? Like I look at it differently, but like, they're dumb. I'm like, no, they're living a fucking dream. Like it is what it is. Like football players run head first at each other. Like fucking 300-pound men running 4.8 yard in the 40-yard dash, running head first. And you're going to tell me steroids are worse for you than that? Junior Seau shot himself in the head because he had CTE. Don't give me that shit. Yeah. So, dude, I respect it, but if you look at like Brandon Curry, I'm not gonna single out Nick. Nick actually looks pretty fucking good versus any other top 20 Mr. Olympia guy, and look at their eyes and their skin, dude, or even a Dexter in his heyday. Like Dexter never got super big on bulks. Like those guys, you know, Brandon won his Olympia. Will he win it again? I don't think the odds are in his favor. But like when he's 70 years old, first of all, I think he's going to get to 70. Second of all, his quality of life is just going to be so good because he never trained stupid. He never trained like Ronnie. He never reached Ronnie's level. Like he won the Olympia, but let's be real. If Ronnie was there, he wouldn't have won it. Like if Phil was at his peak, he wouldn't have won it. But like Brandon got to that level in a very sane and longevity focused as you can be. And his wife actually owned a longevity clinic in Murfreesboro for a long time. So Brandon paid attention, but then you look at the guys who are like size at all costs. They get up to 350 pounds in the off season, like Regan Grimes is doing right now. I'm not pointing him out, whatever, just he's getting really big, but Brandon never did that. He got up to, I think 260 at his peak. And he's my height, and 260. I've been 260 before. And I couldn't even and I mean, it wasn't like the 290 in high school was fat. Believe it or not, fat is easier to move with than if you're on steroids and you weigh two. So a fat 290 is much easier to live with than a lean 260 on steroids.
Oh yeah. 100%.
You're like, your fucking skin's red. Like you got veins popping out of your eyes.
That muscle tissue is just metabolically demanding, man. Like it's crazy.
Stupid. Muscle tissue is now if you're, like you were talking about being 220 lean, if you were 220 fat, I do think being lean and muscular like you, but again, like you're at a level where your body can, like, you're obviously at your natural level, right? Like there's being 220 on steroids with muscle that you shouldn't have, and 220 with natural muscle.
I'm also tall too. So I'm like, I'm 6'1.5". So like,
I'm only 6'3", 5'7". But yeah, I mean, that you're the equivalent of me being 180 pounds based on your height, you know, which is so so muscle is actually, I looked into this for that heart health series, and you know, so basically muscle is it has what am I looking for? It's vascular, right? So muscle actually helps oxygenate, whereas fat's just fucking blocking everything. So it is healthier for your heart to be 220 and muscular versus 220 and fat. So I used to say it's the same thing. It's not. They're both worse than being not big. But if you're 260 muscular versus 260 fat, you're still in a better spot than the fat guy. Now, I'm not taking into consideration if you're on steroids, it fucks up your lipid profile. It fucks up your cholesterol. So there's a lot of other things. So steroids don't directly kill you, but steroids are a lot like obesity, where steroids will cause other things to kill you or to contribute to your risk of death.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I think the big takeaway for me and everybody listening is like awareness, right? Like most people just don't stay on top of this stuff. They blindly go, nope, not going to look. I'm good. Even us healthy guys, right? I think us healthy guys are probably the worst. We're like, nope, I don't need to go to the doctor. What do you mean, bro? I never get sick, right?
So get a general. So I have a general practitioner. He's not by everybody's like, you know, I get messages from people around Franklin, Tennessee all the time. And like, I need a doctor who I'm like, you're not going to find a GP who's going to be able to work with a fucking steroid using bodybuilder. You know, my GP is fine. He's like, oh, you're on TRT. Cool. Awesome. I have a lot of patients on TRT, but he's just a normal doctor. He looks at shit. Not like he's like, you know, he's a doctor, but he knows his shit. He keeps up with research, but he's like, you know, he's a big fan of statins. And I talked to him about it. Makes sense. He's like, hey, like 99% of people who come to me are overweight and just don't want to die, and they don't exercise enough. And I know that statins decrease your morbidity rate by like 27%. And he actually sent me the study. I'm like, this is a good doctor for me. He's like, but for you, what we'll do. And he's like, just try statins. And if it doesn't affect your muscle, keep taking it. If it does, I took it for 3 days, and my daughter and I were in this powerlifting phase, and I was crushing it. I wasn't getting sore. And then I forgot I was taking the statins, and I woke up one morning and it felt like I got hit by a bus. And I called my doctor, and I'm like, but no, I forgot I was on stats. So I'm like, what's causing this? I'm like, did I train wrong? Did I move wrong? Am I overtraining? And then I'm like, I called him, and I'm like, bro, I can't take this shit.
Yeah.
And that's when I researched the apple cider vinegar and all this other stuff, because for most, I'd say for everybody gets on the BMI, right? Like BMI is great. It sucks for athletes, but what is that? Like 1% of the population?
For most people, it's pretty solid.
If I'm a doctor, I'm looking at BMI, and I'm looking at fucking giving everybody's getting statins, everybody. And it's just for the big pharma. Dude, my statins without insurance cost $12. They're generic. There's no patent on them. Rosuvastatin or whatever, that shit is cheap as fuck. No one's getting rich off of statins. Okay. It's not like the V word, right? It's not like that. Okay. They're not making that much money. It's not government. It's like, hey, here's statins, take it, don't die. If I'm a doctor, I'm checking your BMI, and I'm putting you on statins, period, because it makes you die less frequently. That's all doctors are there for. They don't have time to sit there, and they're not like us. We're coaching clients like, oh, so how do you feel after your bench press workout? No, they're like, okay, I got 10 minutes with you. How can I make you not die? So people shit on doctors too much. A lot of doctors they're dealing with the general population, and they don't have the time to sit there and be like, my doctor didn't say shit about my diet. What do you want them to fucking do? They have 10 minutes with you. Do you want them to go over your meal 1 and meal 2 and meal 3? You're eating McDonald's in Biscuitville. Okay. How about they're going to just, so that's why they give you the statins, because they know that how many clients actually stick to the program? Like how many fall off the wagon in the first fucking week? Like probably 50 to 60% if you're like every other coach I've talked to. People aren't, and imagine if they don't have you as a coach, it's going to be 100%. Yeah. They're on the way to, dude, I get to the gym. When I go to the gym at 5 a.m., McDonald's open at 5 a.m. There's a line at the drive-through. Dude, that's your average American. The doctor, he sees probably 40 patients a day, probably 4 an hour, right? For 8 hours a day. What is that? Let's say that's 40 people a day. He doesn't have time to be like, oh, well, are you eating oatmeal for meal one? No, he's like, oh, your cholesterol's high. Here's some fucking statins. Go. And he's doing his job. He's making, dude, why are people more unhealthy than ever? Yet our life expectancy, the average age of death from the vid was freaking like 84. Dude, everybody keeps saying people are more unhealthy, but yet the average life expectancy keeps going higher.
Yeah. I think length is going up, but quality is probably going down.
Who cares? Not their problem.
Right.
A doctor's job is to make you not die. The rest of it's up to you. Totally. So I hate when people shit on doctors. My doctor's doing the best he can. He even told me, he's like, look, man, I deal with people who are not healthy. That's it. And that's why I remember my neighbor, I had a gynecologist neighbor when I lived in North Carolina. And I remember I'm like, so what's it like being a gynecologist? He says, I never see the good ones. People who go to the gynecologist generally have fucked up vaginas. They got to get their vagina treated. Like maybe they have a growth on there, or they got some weird smell or discharge coming out. Same as with doctors. People like you and I who are healthy, we go, but people who go to the gym. Like I talked to a guy yesterday, like he's a healthy guy, 40s. I haven't been to the gym. I haven't been to the doctor in 7 years. So like the healthy people aren't going to the doctor, man. Yeah. The doctor, 99% of who he sees are just fat, unhealthy people.
Yep. Yeah. It is what it is. Made doctors' jobs really difficult because it's, it's like an assembly line at this point, right? Just same thing. And if I know this guy is not going to eat whole natural foods, I'm giving him a statin. He's not going to the gym. I'm giving him a statin. And that's, again, it's not the doctor's fault. It's society's fault for not taking care of themselves. If 99% of people who went to the doctor didn't have fucked up lipid profiles, we wouldn't even have to worry about statins. But now the doctor's like, well, I know this is going to prevent people from dying, so I'm going to give it to everybody. Yep. Because it's easy. It's an easy fix. If I know that I could put this, if I know that I could do a simple maintenance on my car for 30 seconds a day, that'll make it go for another 2 years, I'm going to do it. Totally. That's what doctors are doing. They're doing there's his job. He probably sleeps great at night. He's like, I gave 5 people statins today and they have a 30% less likely chance of dying. Yeah. Again, it's noble. Now, when people when people like us go in there, he's like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? This guy works out. Yeah. Because even look at the busiest gyms and then look how many houses are around them. It's not that busy. Like that's like 0.5% of your neighborhood, bro. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. So very good point. Most people don't work out. Like even the busiest of busy gyms, man, everybody's working out. I'm like, have you not looked at, there's a high-rise apartment. If you put everybody from that apartment building in this gym, it would be over fire code. Yep. Perspective. Yeah, I never even thought about that. Yeah, gyms are not busy. Yeah. They're not busy considering the amount of population that doesn't go to the gym. Yeah. That's crazy, man. Yeah. For us, it seems like everybody trains because, man, the gym's really busy at 6 p.m. I'm like, that's like everybody. That's like one floor of one apartment. Right. Yeah. That's like my cul-de-sac. Yes. Yes, exactly. So it's all perspective. We think we think that we're normal, but we're not. People who work out are abnormal. They're not normal. They're just not. Like you're in the low percentile. You're very, very unique. You're not like anybody else. Bro, I appreciate you spending time with me, man. This is your perspective on this stuff is really, really valuable, especially since you're not shy about sharing what you do behind the curtain, which we need more of, man. I appreciate that, dude. So wait, what are you working on right now? What can people get from you, or what's top of mind that people can connect with you on?
We sell outright bars.
Oh yeah. Hey,
yeah.
Outright Bars are going to be at my live event, dude. We're
sending.
packing.
Yeah. I'll just go ahead and send them today. We have a fresh batch of cookies and cream. We have actually, so we're in GNC, and the good news is, so we took some time. We had some things to work out with the Vitamin Shop. We were the #1 bar at Vitamin Shop, but there were some things we needed to work out on. Not everybody's like, your supply chain. No, it wasn't. We just had some, we just needed some time to figure things out. It was like a relationship. Good news is we figured it out, and we'll be back in Vitamin Shop in June. Nice. Tigerfitness.com is my site. So we carry a ton of brands. Like I was telling you about the Now Foods and Kinase. My brands are MTS Nutrition, Ambrosia, Pump Chasers. And then we also have our clothing line. We have our own clothing press. For those of you, here's another thing, man. If you ever need shirts, I don't know if I told you this, but we have Birdman Creations. So we have no minimums. And we can, So we actually have a clothing print press. It's called Birdman Creations, and it's birdmandesigns.com. We handle a ton of high schools, music bands, gyms, restaurants. Wow. There's no minimums. We print them. You print anywhere from 10 to 100 of them. We give you large quantity pricing too, because that's our market. Our market is anywhere from 10 to 10,000 shirts.
Awesome, man. Dude, that's huge. I know our company needs that. We've worked with a few different places. Some have been good, but the minimums have been insane. Like we
have no minimums.
Yeah, we just did a pretty big one, but we'll do another one.
Yeah, we don't mess around with the like the pricing. The thing is, I don't understand it much, because it's not like you're not really making plates anymore. It's all digital.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of these things don't make sense. I think they just do it because it's how they've always done it. But we saw the market opportunity. We do great quality, and we fast turnaround. So a lot of cool things, but yeah, it's about it. Marc Lobliner.
I'm going to give you a plug. I'm going to give you a for real plug, because your chocolate caramel outright bars, bro. I'm a Twix fiend, just so you know. Like, I'm like a Twix guy. Those things, man, they're so damn good, and they become hard to get. So anytime they come available, I'm probably the asshole that orders like 10 boxes.
our packaging will be in next. It should be next by beginning of March. It should be in. We just it sold faster than we thought. We ran out of packaging.
These are crazy good. Best tasting protein bar I've ever had.
But they're gone in May. So April is the last chance because we have to get rid of it for summer. So May through October, they're gone because they melt.
Okay.
And if I shipped them via only refrigerated trucks, it would mean that you'd be paying like $20 a fucking bar. So we're just gonna bring them for it's October through May.
Okay, so I'll order. I'll have to do the math, but whatever it'll need to last me till October.
Yeah, man. But I appreciate you having me, man.
Dude, you're the best, man. I would recommend everybody follow you for not just the fitness stuff, but I really think probably more than a lot of people these days, you have a really balanced take on just all issues, right? Where you're able to see through, we don't even have to say all the stuff, but see through some of the noise on both sides of most issues.
Everybody's so tribal. We should be issue to issue, but tribalism is the death of society, in my opinion.
Yeah. And especially nowadays, right? Where media and all the things that we pour our attention into every day, it's so easy to become, for lack of a better term, a sheep. And I don't just say that about the liberals or the Republicans or whatever, but just like in general, we tend to just follow the person in front of us and whatever that loudest person is saying. I think it's really important to take a step back and really digest and dissect issues on a much deeper level, man. It's really, really important. So I appreciate you.
Be a leader. Be a leader is what I can like. Don't be a follower. There's obviously certain things you follow, but always think for yourself and don't just agree with an issue because somebody on your team said it. Like, at the end of the day, like the Democrats are very bad for that, but then I can say the same about MAGA people, so at the end of the day, just have your own opinion on things. Don't just go by what other people tell you to think.
Love it, bro. Appreciate you, man. We'll have you back,
man.
Of course.
Of course, man. Have a good rest of your day.
Appreciate you. Thanks so much for tuning in to today's episode of the True Transformation Podcast. We really appreciate you listening and would love for you to review the show wherever you listen, whether that's on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or another podcast platform. If you enjoyed the show, let us know. What else would you like to hear? What other guests would you like us to have on? We always take your feedback into serious consideration. As always, if you're looking for next steps, we do have resources for you. Just check the show notes or the description of the podcast for links on where to go next. We have everything from free resources to get you started on your fitness and fat loss process, or we even have coaching and paid programs if you're serious about going all in on your fitness. My name is Josiah Novak, and remember, life moves fast. Make it count. I'll talk to you in the next one. Thanks so much for listening.